This is the Truth Network.
Coming to you from an entrenched barricade deep in the heart of central North Carolina. Masculine Journey After Hours. A time to go deeper and be more transparent on the topic covered on this week's broadcast. So sit back and join us on this adventure. The Masculine Journey After Hours starts here now.
Welcome to Masculine Journey After Hours. We are in the middle of our foundation series, aren't we, Andy?
We sure are.
Mr. Architect, Andy, the architect
I've
of the
never been called that before.
I know. I'm trying to find something that sticks.
Man, I'm telling you. Hey, I got a new name.
Okay. Okay. You'll have to go to boot camp to realize what we're talking about.
It needs to come from God,
but no,
right?
Andy had the idea of, hey, we're on in a new area, so let's go back and play some stuff that we haven't talked about in a while.
Yeah.
And go back and revisit some topics. And it's great for us to revisit those topics because it puts them fresh in our head.
It does. We are leading up to a boot camp, but also it's just we do topical stuff, and it's great, and it's what's going on in our lives, but there's also a foundation that we work from that has brought a lot of growth in our lives. God has done a lot of rescuing and healing, and it's good to share that in the context of our lives, but there's a basis for all of it. While the heart is a big part of it, Bible obviously is a bigger foundation of it, but it's what we're about as a ministry and how how he rescued us, and then how we are pursuing that, understanding it more, and then being able to share what he's done in our life and maybe help somebody else.
Absolutely. And we're in the middle of the core desires, Robbie. And so I know you did this at the last show, but just touch briefly on it in case they picked up at the middle of the show.
Right. Yeah, it's important. I have thought about it. Genesis 1:27, God created us in his image, in male and female, he created us. And so, what does that mean to bear God's image as a man? And, I see a lot of men that are out there trying to figure out what does it mean to be a man. And, this is an opportunity to push into some areas that you wouldn't think, because what John Eldridge points out really well from my perspective is that Satan has been stealing masculinity. Yeah. That, he fears it, and the things that he fears, like your enemy, will make you wise. The things that your enemy fears are obviously quite valuable. And so that which has been stolen is that idea of little boys have got a battle to fight. And so you can take away their guns, but they're still going to carve a bar of soap into it or whatever it is that they got to take their finger, but they're going to be little warriors, and they are going to be adventurous. They're going to, the last 2 weeks we've talked about both a battle to fight and adventure to live. But, if you watch the movie Braveheart, they're a very masculine movie, and we talked about it in the first show on a battle to fight, that Jesus, like William Wallace, calls us out to live in a larger story, to fight the big battle. But in the movie Braveheart, they were warrior poets, because there's stages in the masculine journey that at some point when we're doing our foundations, we'll get to pillars.
That's right.
But nonetheless, one of those things is that love enters into a boy's life at some point in time. And then all of a sudden your heart ceases to make sense to you in lots of different ways. And so it's fascinating that God kind of put that in all of us, that idea of love, that idea of rescue and the beauty, and those things that we talked about in the first show. We're going to go deeper about that now. And I think the deeper place for many of us that have tripped us up and have been taken, like if there was one idea that Satan would consider to be a place to really send you into the dungeon, it's love.
Right.
And so, this is a big opportunity, right, for us to push into what God has for us in this part of the masculine journey.
Thank you, Robbie. Jamal, you want to add something?
Yeah, just from my small contribution, I just wanted to jump in since it's been a while. Movie a long time ago with Sean Connery called The First Night.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the lines that's always stuck with me, which took me a while to process, he was talking to Lancelot. And Lancelot in that movie was kind of like a wild kid just kind of going here and there, not really settling in and whatnot. And he said that he didn't fear anything, or Lancelot did. Well, then Sean Connery, the King Arthur said, "Oh, you've got to be careful, Lancelot. A man that fears nothing, loves nothing." So that stuck with me for a while. So my question to the audience is, what do you love? What? And by loving something, you're going to fear something hurting that love of yours. Doesn't matter what it is. Is it your family, friends? Could it be, your talents, your job, which we all know it shouldn't be anything material. And maybe that could be a chance for you to kind of change some love in your life if it's not God and family and looking out for others. But if you love what you're supposed to love, then you are going to have that fear of something threatening what you love.
Wow, that's profound.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah. Well, Danny, we are going to start with a Braveheart clip.
We are.
Right. And so, as we all know, William Wallace was a rescuer, right, of his country, of other people, those types of things. But there's more to the story to that.
There is more to the story, and I just thought I was in the studio with Sean Connery. What an impression right
that
there.
Was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
So, the clip is from Braveheart, and if you hadn't seen the movie, William's dad and his brother have been killed in war. And so he's on the farm by himself, and he's a little boy, and his Uncle Argyle shows up with great socks on, and he
nice sweater too.
Yeah, nice sweater. Yeah, but and he shows
Ready
up.
to go play golf.
And the clip is his Uncle Argyle speaking into his life, because he's going through some stuff, and so the clip's not very long, and there's a lot more to it. But if you play the clip, and then we can talk about it on the other side.
William, I'm your uncle, Argyle. You have the look of your mother. We'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow, you'll come home with me.
I don't want to leave.
You didn't want your father to die either, did you? But it happened. Did the priest give a poetic benediction? The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
It was in Latin.
You don't speak Latin? Well, that's something we shall have to remedy, isn't it?
We talk about it a lot, and we've talked about it in the first show. We tend to think of it from an aspect of rescuing the women in our lives or whatever, but there's part of this in creation that in Romans 8 where it says, "For creation was subject to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope, because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God." And it was several boot camps ago after the beauty talk or something. Maybe it was after I just got to pondering rescuing the beauty. And it was far more to it to me that what Uncle Argyle is doing is rescuing the beauty in William Wallace. And if you know the movie, William goes on to, he's just being himself, but he's alive. Very alive. But his passions for Latin, for French, for, the finer things in life, if you will, his Uncle Argyle introduced him to those things and rescued him from a very dark time in his life. And that's what God does for us. He rescues the beauty in us because, Adam fell. And not only Adam, we talk about, humanity fell, but creation fell. But what happens is that when the beauty is rescued in us, we come alive with the passions for rescuing creation, rescuing the beauty that God's created. Poetry, Robbie talked about the warrior poets. And you can't, miss that in a sense, because, when I watch my wife quilt, she loves to quilt and she's good at it. That's a passion of her. Her creativity has come alive because she's been set free to do that. I like to write, and people say I'm good at it. I don't do it near enough. But that has come alive since, coming to boot camps and stuff like that. But if somebody hadn't stepped in and rescued the beauty in me, ultimately Jesus, but, Jesus uses, the flesh of other people, to rescue us, then that's part of the deal. I love to fly fish, and there's nothing more beautiful to me sometimes than standing in a stream, and fly rod and watching the water, listening to the sounds of nature. There's nothing mechanical around other than me and fly rod. But knowing that, that needs to be rescued. That, that's why men start petitions to save, a section of nature, or,
the national parks, how they came apart.
Yeah. Those kind of things, because how many times do you look at something like that and you just gasp in awe, like, wow, I can't believe I just saw that. And, that's the kind of passion that is ignited in the rescuing of the beauty to me. That, we are, yes, it's in our families, it's in our things, but it's also in the things around us. And it's in the people we encounter every day. One person speaks to something in you, and it's part of the rescue. It's part of the rescue boats here. And, to me, that's just simply beautiful. That's what God does, because, John Eldridge talks about, he created this vast, wild world for us to just discover and take in. And, if you live in a smaller story, you're caught up in what's going on right now, you miss it all. Mm-hmm. And so when that world opens up to you, you realize, man, there's all kinds of things going on around me, and this is just awesome. So,
yeah, to jump in again. Sorry, guys, I just feel compelled to jump in on Danny's point. I got it right? All right, Danny. All right, cool. I got to keep saying your name, Danny. So when you're talking about rescuing that boy from his bad situation in Braveheart, that could be another beauty that can be rescuing the beauty that was in that boy so he doesn't go down the wrong path. Because if Argyle didn't come in and rescue William Wallace, then he would have went down the wrong path, as Sam said a while ago. He would have been probably at home, just alone. He probably would have went on a path of revenge. Probably would have been some kind of tyrant himself. But Argyle rescued him from that path. And that's kind of part of the beauty in that rescue. But it led me to another type of rescue where you're talking about, what else is beautiful. And also led me to Hillsdale's, I guess their creed. They value what's beautiful, what's good, and what's true. And that's kind of my mission as well, in a godly frame, because I do like the beauty of nature. I do like the mountains and the rivers and the trees and, all the animals and how it all just works together when you go out on the beach and you go out to, these mountain trips. You go overseas, you go on a cruise, you see that sunset over the horizon, even the beauty in the stars and the galaxies and the nebula and all that. The beauty in the human creation, how we're beautifully and wonderfully made. Everything in God's creation is beautiful, and I want to protect that. I love that. But there's also beauty in the what they call the beautiful struggle. So when you rescue a kid from human trafficking, what the guys from Lantern Rescue and the Victors do, that's another beautiful thing. When you see somebody rescued from that kind of traumatic life, when you are fighting on behalf of the poor or the elderly who don't get a lot of shine in the media. So if you're doing some kind of rescue, just realize that you're part of that beautiful rescue, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. Danny, that clip, in just a little part of the clip, it sounds like Uncle Argyle's such a nasty guy. Well, you didn't want your dad to die either, did you? And he's kind of a very crass person, but when you watch that scene play out, if you go watch the movie during that segment, you learn about his story, that he had a similar thing and that he shared, that his dad got killed, and ultimately his brother got killed, William's dad, right? He's lived that same thing that William has, and he lets him know that. And right away you see a rescue forming in this guy he didn't even know, right? And that's a cool thing that God will do, is he'll give you opportunities for you to be rescued that you can turn around and then later on share with others down the road.
Yeah, and he speaks to him later on in that thing, and dealing with death. But even with the eulogy or whatever in Latin, but he even brings out somewhat the beauty in death, in knowing that there is something sacred, with the bagpipes, and there is something sacred, and there's something beautiful about a transition, if you will, because one day we're all going to transition one way or the other, but that's the kind of I love the scripture, "Old death, where is your sting?" Because Christ redeemed that, and so you're just passing from one life to the other, and Argyle kind of speaks to that too as well. So
absolutely. And so, Andy, we get to your clip, which is also a Braveheart clip.
Yeah, it's Danny and I didn't get together on this, but it's the rest of the story. So
great bald men think alike.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
We don't have all that hair getting in the way.
Came from the bald section.
Yeah.
Yep. So
our time to shine. Andy.
Exactly. So what you don't see or hear on that clip right before that is there's his dad's burial, William's burial, and at the very end of it, it's just in the movie, it's just the music will tear you up, and this little girl walks up to William and hands him the thistle, which is like the flower for Scotland, and she hands it to him, and it's the love of God really reaching out to him, and you see a tear from his eye, and then Argyle does come in, but then Argyle takes William on these pilgrimages and really enriches his life with beauty and adventure and all this stuff. And William is at the age now of beginning to be interested in women or whatever, so he comes back to the village, and in that village they show a scene right before. Not to tell you everything, but trying to set this up
it's like
good.
20 years old.
Well, yeah, true. No spoiler alert here, but he comes back to this village, and Longshanks, the villain in this story, has all these armies that are basically taking the women for themselves, the Scottish women for themselves. And I didn't really think about it. I've never really put that together, but it's a bit part of the story. William sees that, and in protection, he begins to move towards this girl. Now, this is a girl that he's really always loved anyway, but he's moving towards her to protect her, and he's coming, and he's trying to approach her parents about seeing her, and then he takes her off on a ride, and they go up, and he goes after her heart. Truly is a rescue. It's a pursuing of her. And it's not, you think, well, what, she need to be rescued? She's just this young girl in her home or whatever. But he's coming after her heart in the way it needs to be came after. And she truly is rescued in this, in this scene.
Exchange.
Yeah, in this exchange.
Good evening, sir. Ah, young Wallace. Grand soft evening, huh? Ah, it's that. I was wondering if I might have a word with your daughter. What do you want to have a word with her about? Well, Murren, would you like to come and ride with me on this fine evening?
And this? You're out of your mind.
Oh, it's good Scottish weather, madam. The rain is falling straight down. Oh, slightly to the side like.
She can't go with you.
No.
Oh, no the now, anyway.
No the now, no the now. We'll see you later.
Oh, the weather's just fine. It's hardly raining. Did you not hear what I said?
Murren!
Murren, you...
How did you know me after so long?
Well, I didn't.
No.
It's just I saw you staring at me and I didn't know who you were.
I'm sorry, I suppose I was. Are you in the habit of riding off in the rain with strangers?
It's the best way to make you leave.
If I can ever work up the courage to ask you again, I'll send you a written warning first.
Oh, it wouldn't do you much good. I can't read.
Can you not? Well, that's something we shall have to remedy, isn't it?
You're going to teach me to read then?
If you like.
Aye?
In what language?
You're showing off now.
That's right. Are you impressed yet?
No. Why should I be?
Parce que chaque jour, j'ai pensé à toi.
do that standing on your head and I'll be impressed.
I might kill the fly up, but I'll try. All right?
Oh, God, you certainly didn't learn any manners on your travels.
The French and the Romans have far worse manners than I.
You've been to Rome?
Uncle took me on a pilgrimage.
What was it like?
Rien qui approchait ta beauté.
What does that mean?
Beautiful.
So in that exchange there, what he was saying to her in French, Latin, I don't know.
French.
Not as beautiful as you. He told her beautiful. So he's just playful and all that, but it's what a young heart like her, I mean, her as a beauty, as somebody that's meant something to him in the past. I mean, he's truly going after her heart. And you see later he tries to defend her, and, you know, it's a brutal movie, Braveheart. But there is beauty in that movie. You think of it as nothing, but there's the natural beauty all throughout that movie. But you see that beauty that he has an appreciation for in her and the arts and whatever, kind of what Danny was talking about. But he truly is that warrior poet. He has an appreciation for that beauty, but rescuing her, you see it in that scene. Sometimes I just think about it. There's times whenever I didn't rescue the beauty well. I mean, a lot of times, whatever I said, you know, not realizing it was probably not. It wasn't pursuing or rescuing a beauty. It was something for my own validation, like what we've talked about here earlier. And you know, I know it's a movie, but what is it? Art imitates life. I want that, you know, I want that kind of, I've approached a woman's heart much differently, whether it be my daughter, my mom, or even my wife. And it's when you begin to see the full story in the context and what God intended for man and how for him to pursue a woman and how messed up we get it a lot of times, you just have a desire to do things right the next time. I would like to have done it like he did. A lot of times we don't get initiated like he did, and that's an important part of the story. That what Danny's point is he had somebody to rescue him, so he then therefore could go and rescue them.
Yeah, and I think what's important is, you know, you got to check the motive. What's my motive, right, behind what's going on, and to walk with God through it. I'm going to play one other clip, and then we'll sum some stuff up for whatever time we have left. But this is from the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, right? And so part of what you want to try to look for when you're working with God is say, God, help me see the warfare that's in this person's life. Because we all have warfare coming against us. You know, Wallace saw warfare in Miron's life, and so he went after that warfare. That's what we try to do when we walk with God. And so even when you don't know it, God will kind of give you a bone once in a while and say, here you go. And I think that's what happens in this scene. But he fights against an agreement that she's made about her family. And so she's on a date with somebody who's not Greek. And that just doesn't happen in her life, right? And she has to hide it from her family, and she's having such a good time, but then she starts thinking, oh, I can't ever do this again. And she starts telling him all these excuses on why they couldn't see each other again. And see how he handles her heart in the agreement that he goes after.
I'm Greek, right? Right. So what happens is my dad and my uncles, they fight over who gets to eat the lamb brain. And then my Aunt Vula forks the eyeball and chases me around with it, trying to get me to eat it because it's going to make me smart. I have 27 first cousins, just 27 first cousins alone. And my whole family is big and loud, and everybody's in each other's lives and business all the time. Like, you never just have a minute alone just to think, because we're always together, just eating. The only other people we know are Greeks, because Greeks marry Greeks, to breed more Greeks, to be loud, breeding Greek eaters.
Wow.
I'm serious. No one in my family has ever gone out with a non-Greek before. No one. But I just don't see how this is going to work out. So...
Work out? What's to work out? We're not a different species. Yes, we come from different backgrounds, and hey, here's some news about my life to this point, and it's boring. Then I met you, and you're interesting, and you're beautiful and fun, and you got a weird family. Who doesn't? I just want to spend some time with you. I just want to spend a little time with you.
Did you say I'm beautiful?
It may not be real clear what her warfare is there, but there's warfare against her about her value is found in following her family values, what her family's always done, that I have to stay within this. And my values with what I bring to the family and not in as much as me, an individual. And so what he goes after is he says, look, every family's weird. And if you have a family, I promise you can probably agree when you get a few cousins out there, right? I mean, it may not be your immediate family, but for most of us, it's pretty dang close, right? And so he lets her know you're not alone. You think you're alone, right? And I see you. I see you for you, and I want to know you for you. I don't care about that other stuff, right? When her whole life, she's never heard anything like that.
Yeah, she's isolated herself so other people won't see that about her.
Right, she hides.
Yeah.
She hides her beauty.
Yeah, a lot of shame there.
Yeah, and who she is. And if you go watch the movie, at the beginning, she's very frumpy, right? Because she chooses to be. But as she learns to walk in her beauty, she becomes a very beautiful woman throughout the show, right? And as somebody who loves her well in the midst of it. Robbie, you'd like to add to that?
Oh, yeah, I loved it. I never had spotted it. I've loved the movie. I love that clip. But it's biblical that a man shall leave his mother and a woman leave her home. Well, she can't leave her home.
Right.
And how many women do we know? That's a struggle. And it's a beautiful place to start for a lot of us to go, man, maybe that's some warfare I can walk into. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that is the Beauty to Rescue. We will have another topic next week on our Foundation series. If any of this intrigues you, come see us at a boot camp. There's one coming up November 20th through 23rd in Royston, Georgia. Go to masculinejourney.org to register or to get information. If you have financial difficulty, reach out to us. We'll find a way to get you there. If you need help getting there, let us know. We'll talk with you next week, and let God love on your heart this week.
This is the Truth Network.